Um, well, thank you for joining me to, talk about the International Herb Symposium. And of course, I know about your upcoming book that
Yes.
has been released or is
It
soon to be released.
yes, it's releasing September 23rd, but it's available for pre-orders now.
Awesome, awesome. So, I would love for you just to share a little bit about yourself and, talk about the book.
Mhm.
And I'm, super excited to have you here. I think this is a topic that's really relevant to a lot of people and difficult to navigate. It's
Yes.
one of those topics where it's almost like too much information's out there or not the
Yes.
right information.
Yes. Yes. Yeah. That's exactly one of the main reasons I wanted to write this book. So, my name's Liane Moccia. I'm a fertility herbalist. I live in the Northeast, just outside of Boston, and I have a clinical practice focused on fertility, pregnancy, and other hormonal support. So I've been working with people in my practice, working on fertility for about 8 years now. And I've just found that increasingly people come to me with a lot of overwhelm because there is so much information out there. A lot of people will come to me and say, "Oh, I heard about this great herb on TikTok. What do you think?" And I understand where that comes from. We're all seeking information, but finding information that's relevant for you is very hard, I think. So, after working with people for many years, I thought there's a lot that I see coming up over and over again that I really want to write about in this book. And I want it to honor the herbs, but I want it also to be at the same time rooted in as much evidence-based medicine as we have available today, and to have that balance.
Hmm.
The other thing that was really important to me is talking about sperm and the sperm factor that goes into fertility, because again, most people come into the practice and say, I can't get pregnant. The ovulating person is saying, I've been trying to, I can't get pregnant. And there isn't always, we have to kind of catch ourselves to say, if you're in a partnered relationship, there are two parts here.
Yeah.
And I don't think it's talked about enough. And we know
Hmm.
that 50% of the time, sperm factor is a reason that a couple's not getting pregnant or having difficulty. And there's a lot of things we can do to support sperm and sperm fertility.
Yeah. Yeah, no, it's true, right? It's like often the fertility issue is like a woman's well-being
Yeah.
even though they obviously do tests and whatever and it's part of the discussion, it almost feels even I don't know, maybe a little bit more taboo.
Yes, it is. And I think part of that stems from the awkwardness of talking about it. And also, I think when you really dig into it, sometimes people are worried to what the results might be. Sometimes a
Yeah.
person says, well, if it is my sperm, then it's all my fault. And what are we going to do? And,
Hmm.
knowledge is always power. And sometimes there are things we can do. Often there are things we can do to support that person.
Yeah.
So I think it's really important.
So where are you based out of?
So I live in Andover, Massachusetts. So I'm just a little bit north of Boston,
Hmm.
and I work with people all over the country over Zoom.
Yeah. Nice. That's awesome. Yeah, well, we normally have the International Herb Symposium in Boston or
Yes,
outside of Boston at Wheaton College. So this is really something different to do it in Cincinnati.
yes,
But I think it's going to be really great because we're really trying to honor sort of the history of the eclectics and the history of botanical medicine in the United States, which has a rich history. And
yes,
um, so I think I hope there's like a reawakening
yeah,
of this history. And I loved how you mentioned really finding that balance
hmm,
because it's really not like one thing's bad and the other thing's good, right?
right,
I mean, you can't deny the medical innovations that's happened in the allopathic medicine and like how can we like merge nutrition, well-being, herbs,
right,
um, our diets, our environmental
hmm,
exposures,
yes,
all those things
yes,
kind of, create a holistic picture. And um, I think the thing that I love about the International Herb Symposium is that it really brings together practitioners that have their toe in all these different
yes,
realms.
yes.
And do you feel like that kind of accurately sort of defines how you view your practice and what you try and offer your clients?
Yes, very much. I want to bring both the traditional wisdom that we have, generations and generations of passed down information and honor that and blend in what we're learning through research. It's this fine balance of it's all information. It all helps inform us. But I always come back to no matter how much research and data we have, we still come back to the person that we're
Mm-hmm.
talking to and working with in front of us. And how are they presenting? How are they feeling? How are they showing up in the world? And there's just so much that we can do to kind of blend those things together, starting with
Mm-hmm.
someone's constitution and what they need today, and then sprinkling in and knowing like what have we learned from some of the research? What do we know from blood work and from testing and labs? All of those things are just so helpful and give us a bigger picture. And they're
Yeah.
never one or the other. It's always both.
And I guess, sort of my last question for you, I'll make it twofold. Um, one sort of, and I guess that they're probably one and the same, but kind of tidbits that you think people will gain from coming to your class. And what's the like framework of your book
Mhm.
that you feel in a synopsis what people are gonna
Mhm.
be able to navigate by, like is your book like the starting place for people to kind of get an overview so that they
Right.
can be more educated, right, when they're navigating this
Yes.
process.
Yes, it was important for me that this book be a holistic approach to fertility so that anyone in their process could jump into this book and walk away with actionable steps. So if someone's at the very beginning and they're just thinking about it and their doctor has told them, oh, just take a prenatal and come back in a year. And they're like, what do you mean? Like, what do I do? We
Yeah.
cover everything from understanding your cycle and timing intercourse and understanding the fundamentals of egg quality and sperm quality and all the antioxidants that are necessary for all of these things to happen, you know, optimally. And
Mm-hmm.
then we go into the herbs, like how are herbs supporting all functions of fertility? And how can I even have a chapter called Herbs for Everyone because I just feel like they really are herbs for everyone. They're going to help us
Mm-hmm.
on our fertility journey, but they're lifelong allies for health. And then I go into more conditions that are likely to cause, delays in fertility. So things like endometriosis and PCOS and sperm factor and all those other things. So people have a place where they can go a little bit deeper and
Mm-hmm.
say, yeah, I've either been given this diagnosis or I'm thinking like I might have this. What else can I do? How can I support myself? How can I advocate with my healthcare providers? And then even touch on if people are going through IVF or IUI or other fertility treatments, how can they support themselves? The nervous system support is so important to helping you get through this journey as a human.
Sure.
And also, how can they do it safely? Because not all herbs are safe at all points along this process. So safety was really important. Having the research and data to support. I was just counting the other day for an interview. They asked how many references were in my book. I'm like, I don't know. So then I went back and looked, and there was about 150 scientific
Wow.
references at the end of the book. So again, it's that balance.
Mm-hmm.
So that's what I hope people walk away from with this book is wherever they are in the journey, they're going to find some tangible, actionable things they can do and know they're not alone.
Yep.
And
So
then just,
really,
yeah,
and then yeah, so really it's a book for both male and female. It kind of
completely,
covers, yeah, right.
100%.
Yeah.
And then, so for people who come to my class at the IHS this year, I'm really excited to dig into sperm and testosterone. So
Mm-hmm.
again, I said I don't think it's talked about enough. So I am going to keep talking about it as long as people will listen. And I want to go, I want to step back and talk and start with the physiology. So understanding the, hypothalamus, pituitary, the testicle loop so that people understand why testosterone is so important to sperm development. What do sperm need to develop healthfully? So we'll talk a lot about antioxidants and testosterone levels. It's something that I've noticed in my practice more and more often. Healthy young people coming in with low and borderline low testosterone levels. And there's some studies showing that people today, at the same age a generation ago, they have lower testosterone levels, and that's absolutely impacting our fertility. So I want to talk about the mechanisms behind how sperm is produced, how we can support it, and then dive into some of the herbs that I use in my practice that I find very helpful, and also back it up with some of the scientific literature and what we know from research and how those herbs can help impact fertility overall.
Yeah. Well, it definitely feels like we're in the moment of hormones.
We
I
are.
mean, and people are really looking at them, in a different capacity.
Yeah.
And
And I love that. I love that we're having honest and open conversations about hormones.
mhm, yeah, absolutely. Okay, well, I mean, I think, that's awesome. I don't know if there's anything else you would like to share before we, wrap it up.
I'm just so excited to come to Cincinnati for IHS this year. I can't wait to do the United Plant Savers field trip and
Oh,
get to see
nice.
it in person. I'm thrilled. I mean, I loved all the meetings that were held in at Wheaton College, but I think this is going to be a special treat, and I'm really looking forward to going and to seeing everybody.
Awesome. Awesome. Well, thank you. Yeah, I'm gonna if I push end and it stops recording, it won't end the call. Or no, I
Um,
can do the record button.
hit the record.